Hello, so today I'm going to talk about the most powerful tool to use during your evolution, your manifestation, your spiritual growth, and that is the power of I am. And it's not just a phrase, it's very powerful, and I'm going to go real quick into its history of I am. So in biblical terms, the I am was first found in Exodus 3:14 when Moses asked God for his name. And God responded with, I am that I am. So when he replied with that, what that meant was, I am existence, I am self-fulfillment, I am limitless, and I am ever present. That's in biblical terms. Fast forward, and now we have metaphysics, where you have the teachers of Neville Goddard, Florence Scovel Shinn, and Ernest Holmes, and they took those teachings a little bit further with the idea that anything you place the I am with, so I am powerful, I am successful, I am wealthy and healthy, will align your consciousness to that version of yourself that already exists. So remember, there are infinite versions of ourselves in a multiverse. And so every time you use that affirmation of I am, then you are getting closer and closer to that version of yourself in that dimension. Now, we are changing dimensions at every moment. Every moment is a new moment. Every moment is a new dimension, new possibility. So this is why the more it gets ingrained in us, then the closer we are to aligning to that version of ourselves. So let's fast forward now, and now we're talking about the New Age movement, the new spirituality, where I am is now used as, you are now talking as self, God. So you are speaking through God because we are fractals of God, and it is being used in the form of the universal laws of law of correspondence and law of attraction. The law of assumption is embedded in those two laws, and there's 12 universal laws. So that's the New Age. So what does that all mean for us? You know, that's great about the history, but it's powerful because it has been since the beginning of time. I am has always existed. And what this means is that you really need to embody it to become what you're searching for. Because you are, the I am is a command to the universe. I am healthy. I am wealthy. Now there's different processes of doing this. You have what's called robotic affirmations. And basically you keep on repeating it regardless of how you feel until you start believing it. A quick example of that is you're growing up and people keep telling you that you're ugly, even though you look in the mirror and you don't see that you're ugly. But eventually, because it's been told to you so many times, you start believing in that assumption that you're ugly. So that's the same process here. You're gonna keep on saying it until you believe it. But then there's another version of it, and again, these are all processes, which are permission slips. There's this other way of doing it, which kind of makes this process a little bit shorter and gets you aligned closer to your version that you want to be in. And this is by embodying it. So I'm going to give you an example. When we were growing up, I was Wonder Woman. I had the underoos, I had the lunchbox, I had the costume, I had the sheets. Therefore, in my mind, in my imagination, I was Wonder Woman. And how did I know I was Wonder Woman? Because the playgrounds that we lived in, that we used to play, was made out of metal. We probably all had third degree burns at some point. We had that merry-go-round that kept going. I don't even know how many broken arms there were because of that thing. But we lived in a world with other kids in all imagination. So we didn't care how our circumstances at home were, because when we were at that moment in the playground or out in the street or out in the yard with our friends, nothing else mattered. Nothing else existed. We were so present at that time that we just relied on our imagination and we believed it wholeheartedly, regardless of what we went back home to. That's where we need to get back to. That's the secret sauce. That's the secret code for this. So moving forward, try to embody that childhood memory where you knew maybe home sucked, right? But when you got home, or when you got out of the home, when you were outside, you were somebody else. So it does come down to act as if you really think about it, because we've lost connection to our childhood, but now we have to relearn it to act as if. So when you go out there and you start claiming these affirmations, I am healthy. Hell yeah, I am healthy as fuck. Now, it doesn't mean that you don't do anything, you just sit there, right? There's going to be things that come in. Once you start claiming these affirmations, then things start approaching you. Synchronicities, things that would have appeared. You know, I am wealthy. Well, the universe is going to test you. Are you really wealthy? I'll give you an example. This happened to me. I promised my kids that I was going to get us a trip next year on a cruise. I promised them that we were going to do this. My current circumstances right now, if you look at it from a third person point of view, one would think you shouldn't be spending your money on that. But I'm like, no, I am not going to hold myself in fear and in lack. I made a promise and I'm going to keep my promise. So I booked it. Because the way I started to now reprogram my mind was, this is for the enjoyment of my kids and myself. It is for the highest good. And the money that I used to pay for this trip is going to pay the people's salaries on that ship, on that cruise. So, and money is not meant to sit still. It's meant to be circulated. And money is energy, and I am energy. So we're all circulating. And whatever I spend will come back to me amplified. So that's how I'm starting to reprogram my mind. And that's the power of the affirmations. When you start saying these affirmations and you really want to believe it, you're going to start getting these little tests from the universe to see how badly do you believe in it. Now, don't get me wrong, when I said that, you know, my heart stopped. I'm like, oh shit, you know, do I really want to spend this money right now? I said, no, I'm not going to live in fear. I'm going to have full trust in the universe. I'm going to be taken care of, and I'm going to move forward. So you're going to have little tests like that. And then you're going to have synchronicities to show you that you're on the right path. I'll give you another example. I had gone and taken a trip to with the kids up north. 2 days after I came back, my truck just died on me. It was on and it just stopped. So I took it to the body shop, and then they gave me a quote. I said, okay, well, I have a check coming in for a deal that I closed, and that should cover the cost. Didn't think about it. I was just more grateful that this truck didn't stop when I was up north with the kids, and we would be all alone, and I wouldn't know what body shop to take it to or whatever. It happened literally 2 days upon our return. So they gave me a quote for $742.46. I'm like, okay, whatever. My check from that deal that I closed, which was a small deal, was exactly $742.46. Talk about a synchronicity. Because I was being grateful that the issue didn't happen while I was up north, and the money that I got was a complete wash, which is fine. I'd rather than do that and, you know, take what I have right now in my bank account. And I know that was a synchronization to show me that I'm on the right path as far as my programming. So take this as your opportunity to start being as fucking everything. You know, don't be afraid when you get those little fears, when you feel that heart lump or that lump in your throat or whatever. Just remember, you are whatever you want to be as fuck. Take it to the next level. Get out of this old programming. You're not going to evolve unless you start getting out of that funk, until you start taking those chances and trusting in yourself and trusting in the universe that it will come back to you in some way, shape, or form. I hope this helps.